My presentation today is how rethinking death will make you appreciate life. So again, my name is Teronie Donaldson. I'm a writer, content creator, overall cool dude, skilled tradesman, anything you want in this case. So this is my presentation, how rethinking death will make you appreciate life. Now, the thing about life is that no matter how hard you try, you never make it out alive. Sooner or later, death is something that we all have to face. Now, most people live in fear of the inevitable. Now, depending on your belief, you can either go to heaven, reincarnate, transcend to another plane, or nothing at all. Now, death has mystified us and scared us throughout human history. So, a great question to ask yourself is that why do we fear death, especially if we know that it's at each and every one of our doorsteps? Now, each of us has our own metric for fear, so I'm not trying to discredit your belief or anything whatsoever. I just wanted to pose that question. See, personally, I don't fear death in itself because I know that's there, that's going to happen. And no, I'm not superhuman or showing some sort of false bravado in this, virtual form. It's nothing like that. I've just come to accept that death is at every one of our doorsteps. So why should I bother with it? I guess the best way to think about it is that I look at it like this. If death shouldn't concern you, because when we exist, death does not. And when death exists, we do not. Kind of simple logic in that way, but it's truth. So what I fear more than death are actually three things. And the three things I fear more than death are something that are kind of within the realm of what I control in this everyday life. Those three things, and these are the points that I will talk about during this presentation. My three things I fear more than death are leaving my family, suffering a debilitating illness, and not living up to my full potential. Now, these three fears supersede death for me because either one is considered torture from my point of view. I utilize them, though, as a motivation to live my life to its utmost fullest. I remember a quote that Steve Jobs gave when he was after his first bout with cancer at the Stanford University's commencement speech. And he said that remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. It was pretty deep because I look at it that, everything in life that we deal with is a choice, So I think about those choices when it comes to those three fears that I mentioned. So I'll just dive right into the points. The fear of leaving my family. Now, the thought of not being present in my family's life is tough. I'm married and, I have three young kids, and I want to be present for everything. I want to soak up all the moments. I want to see the prom, the graduation ceremony. I want to embarrass them when they get older with their friends. If we tell the jokes, we become, buddies together. I want it all. I want every nook and cranny I could get. And, I want to continue to live a happy, healthy, marriage. But as I know, the inevitable will happen. So I use that as a reminder to live in the moment now and to make memories now. I don't take anything for granted. Now, I'm not posing like a fairy tale existence where everything is awesome or everything is perfect. I admit my kids get on my nerves sometimes, and especially doing homework or any online activity. If you're a parent out there, you know what the deal is. Like, it could drive you insane because now you're the teacher, and that's another topic for another day. But anyway, as impatient, as irritable as I can be, I know I can fall short in that area, but don't get it twisted. I just want to let you guys know I'm a great dad and a great husband, and I pride myself on that. But I know that I can fall short, and especially when in terms of, helping my superwoman wife, but being aware of this, I always strive to improve. I know that I work hard, but my wife works 3 times harder. So it doesn't matter if I'm out there, at work or dealing with clients or anything like that. She's dealing with the three most demanding clients any parent can have, which are the kids. So I ask myself a question all the time. Besides being present in my family's life, how can I add value daily? Now, adding value is not just, based off for business or anything like that. I believe that your family is your most valuable asset you have. So adding value will be benefit for, let's say, that entire asset. I truly believe that a happy family is an earlier heaven. So I add value by learning from the errors I made, reevaluating the responses to my wife's requests. Whereas, it's a simple thing for us to, work as a partnership to help out around the house. And if she's here doing most of the stuff all day, when I come back, it's nothing for me to help out. having more patience with my kids. That's a big one because at the end of the day, my kids won't be kids forever. So I have to live in those moments now. When they're telling me these stories, and if it's taking forever, doesn't matter. Just listen to the story and then interact. When we're all in each other's presence, make sure I don't have one of these guys, because this is the biggest distraction around. It's the biggest benefit and biggest distraction at the same time. So I always try to make sure that we're present. My second point would be suffering a debilitating illness. Now, I truly believe that there are fates that are worse than death. I'm grateful every single day for my health and my mobility. Actually, even on my gratitude journals, I write it. I'm grateful for my health, mobility, and a slew of other things throughout the day. So I make body maintenance support a priority. Now, the body is the best tool we have in life. By trade, I'm a steam fitter by trade. So we use tools to effectively do our jobs correctly. Now, what about the biggest tool we have in our lifetime? Our body. Our body is a tool that manifests the desires in our mind to do what we need to do. So if I'm not putting the right fuel in my body, then how am I taking care of that? I believe it's cause and effect. I always believe that if you don't make time for your health, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. And I'll repeat that again. If you don't make time for your health, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. So how am I making time for my health? I'm making time for my health by taking care of my body. I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist or anything like that, but it's just simple things that I could do to give better fuel in my body, like eating right. I can't eat all that ice cream, all that sugar, all the refined fatty foods, everything. I gotta be mindful of that. I'm not saying that I don't eat that, but at the end of the day, I gotta watch what I'm eating. So again, drinking water, eating right, having sleep better, and exercise, which is extremely important. I find it scarier than death because if an ailment controls you, then it's only so much you can do till it gets too late. See, my family has a history of high cholesterol, diabetes, and high blood pressure. I don't have that now, but as long as I make the proper food choices, then I don't have to worry about that. So I make sure my moments count when healthy and taking daily care of my physical body, my greatest tool, so to speak. Now, the third thing is not living up to my potential. I find this scarier than death in this way, because again, as death as I can't control, these are certain things I can control with is living up to my potential. There's a rapper named Immortal Technique, and he had this incredible line. He said that hell is not a place you go if you're not a Christian. It's the failure of your life's greatest ambition. I took that personally because not living up to my full potential would be a torture. It's almost like living a life of quiet desperation. Ever since I was 5 years old, I wanted to be successful. Now, we're all on different journeys in life. So if your success, whatever your success is different from my personal view of success. So there's nothing disparaging anybody or anything like that. It's just that I've always had certain metrics for where I want to live my life. So I can only speak for myself in terms of where I want to go. And if I did not, live up to my potential, it would be torture. It would a great way to actually to communicate this or better rather. I read books often, like a book a week. And one of my favorite books, and also my favorite audiobook I read last year, was David Goggins. It was called Can't Hurt Me. That was the author, David Goggins. And it's a powerful book, and I recommend that for anybody out there to read it or listen to. Anyway, in the book, he mentions a 40% rule. Now, he says the rules pretty much states in a nutshell that we're only living up to 40% of our capacity. And at that point, we become comfortable. We get relaxed in wherever we are. So that means that if you're only at 40%, you still got 60% more to go. That's tough because if you look at that, it's everybody's comfortable at some way, shape, or form. So it's not, not to look down upon yourself, but everybody can get comfortable. Now, if you have that much to go, the way to get past the 40% is pushing past your own fears. Try to beat back those limitations. Try to do things to callous the mind to make you stronger. He actually goes further within this analogy towards the end of the book where he mentions, because he's a religious fellow. So he mentions his vision of hell is if he got to the pearly gates, and as he's at the pearly gates waiting, and they pull out the scroll of his life, and they showed, say, hey, you did this, you did that. Oh, that was pretty cool. But you could have been here, here, and here. I took that analogy and said to myself, you know what? How can I apply that now, today, in my life, period? Because at the end of the day, if I'm only living 40% of my life, my potential capacity, then what am I potentially doing wrong? I feel that, as I mentioned earlier, it's my duty and my obligation to live my full potential. I look at it like, if I don't live my full potential, how can I tell my kids to be all that they can be if daddy's sitting there chilling out? How can I help others do what they can? How can I coach others if I don't help myself, if I'm not pushing myself? You know, at the end of the day, people can see me and, I live a great life. I have no issues. But at the end of the day, I live with myself subconsciously 24/7. So I know subconsciously when I'm giving into a fear. I know subconsciously when I have a limitation. I know when I didn't push myself, when there was a bit of cowardice in my ambition. So with me knowing that, I make sure to challenge myself daily to push past that 40%, to get past, more and more every bit, daily and daily. And I know it will be an ongoing thing throughout the rest of my life that I have, but I want to make sure that I do that. So thinking about these three things that I fear more than death: leaving my family, suffering a debilitating illness, and not living up to my full potential, it helps me cherish each and every single moment in my life now. Now, before I go, I'll tell you the origin of, why I rethink death to help me appreciate life. So generally where it came from. When I was 16 years old, my dad died. We didn't live together, but I would visit him every Sunday. And I found out he died one Sunday when I was en route to visit him. My mother called with the life-altering news. Now, obviously, I was completely devastated, and it's a tough moment, realistically. But what made me not crumble in that moment was what my mother said to me right after, during that conversation. It's so funny, for such a profound conversation, I only remember these specific words she told me. And she said, Teronie, tomorrow is never promised to us. And at that moment, despite profound sadness, the words gave me strength. It made me aware that you never know how long you have with somebody. So you need to cherish these moments now. So instead of the initial grief in that moment, especially when, I was en route to go, I thought about all the times that we hung out together, how he would draw. He told me stories, watching the Giants playing, that was his favorite team. So we would watch the Giants play, all types of memories. And, it gave me strength because, not, even though he wasn't there, that strength of all those great memories propel me to be strong during the funeral and even in the moments after. Again, it made me aware that you never know how long you have with somebody. So, not to sound morose, but I come across realizing that knowing that you will die one day can be a blessing in disguise. When you do know that you will die, you live a more intentional, an intentional life. Those small arguments that you tend to have with people, they're nothing, man. It's whatever. It's water under the bridge. The things that seem like life and death don't matter when it comes to actual death. I learned that at 16. I'm 37 now, and no matter how old I get, and for the rest of my life, I will not forget that particular lesson. Life is short. The opportunities we have to be happy, are when we decide to be here and now, in a moment, focus, especially dealing with your family and not being distracted by the gadget. So I appreciate my family daily. I try not to take them for granted whatsoever. And again, I'm not perfect. Again, remember I said, don't get it twisted. I'm real good, but not perfect. But I don't take them for granted. Appreciate my health and mobility daily. Think about what can I do with this tool to make it manifest my ultimate goals, and also to help me, give me the energy to be with my family, to be part of that, that happy family, the earlier heaven, so to speak. And, and I look at it in this way, like, as I would say for you guys, is to, don't fear death in itself. Let it motivate you to experience everything that you can experience in this entire life that you have. Use it to accomplish what you want before, your time expires. So again, tomorrow's never promised to us. So you have to remember to live your full life today. So with that said, I really, truly appreciate you guys listening to my presentation. I do want to thank you guys. It's a great experience for me. And that's it. If there's any questions or concerns, I hope everything was all good for you. And hit me up. I left my links on the side, so please feel free to, hit me up. We can reach together. I always believe that, because I'm on a learning journey as well as I'm trying to live up to my full potential. So I always believe that even anything that I learn is something I'm teaching. So I've always believed that he who teaches learns twice. So not only am I learning from what I'm doing here, I'm learning from you guys. So again, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking a moment and think about we're in 2021 now. So utilize 2021 as the year of having fun, so to speak. As you looked on the news, you see we had a terrible or a challenging year, so to speak, with 2020 changed the face of human history. So we got to utilize that to do better, be better, appreciate our family, because tomorrow's never promised. Appreciate our health a lot more, and if you watch the news all day, you'll see, everything's ever present. So why not now more than ever to, live our potential, do what we have to do. So I do want to thank you guys. If there's anything further, hit me up, and that's it. So I will just quickly, before I end everything here, want to thank you guys for listening to my presentation. Jeff, I want to thank you as well, from Los Angeles. I appreciate that. I'll just do a personal shout out while I have a bit of time. Paul, I want to thank you as well. Appreciate everything. Z Donaldson, I appreciate you tremendously. Sieka, I hope I'm saying your name properly. With my name is Teronie, it gets butchered all the time. So if I don't say your name properly, I apologize. Forgive me. Richard, all the best, man. I wish you very well. Thank you for that. Antonio, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Linda, thank you. I appreciate that. And